Hi everyone, this is Bradley. So I've made this animation. The idea comes from a tutorial on Cinema 4D. You can find the link in the description. The original name is called Brush at the Air. I personally call this cloth flow but it does not matter. I have tried the different methods, but as the time goes, I was thinking this is such an easy animation that you can just do this in Blender. So today I'm going to try use just Blender without a third-party plugin to make this. I will try to do this as fast as possible while also explaining my thoughts. I have to say, after this moment, I don't know how it will essentially look like at the end. I may potentially fail, but if so, with a legitimate reason, someday we may revisit this type of animation again using animation nodes or other methods. So let's start. So the first thing we need to do is to delete the default cube and add a UV sphere. And add a displace modifier, add a texture. If we go to the texture and change that to whatever things that you think is legitimate, in this case I'm going to add a noise. And then it looks very jaggy. I'm going to smooth it out by subdivision surface, maybe 2 times. And then I'm going to edit mode and move this to lower. The entire point is why I'm increase the amount of scale Z. It will only stretch to one direction. That's the whole point. So after we finish this, then go to the orthographic Y view and hide our sphere. Let's add a Bezier curve. I'm going to delete all these vertices and I'm going to draw basically a splines, whatever things, and make sure it closes. So if you see the active splines, there will be cyclic U. So now it means it closed. So finally, we're going to add a curve modifier. Goes to sphere and a curve modifier. So now you see, now it's not aligned at all. But if we change these, so let's add a basic curve. So now it's not aligned at all. But if you change the Z, then it'll align. And let's animate the entire things. So here are several things. If you move along the axis, then it will move along this curve. This is the point. If you enlarge at the axis, then it will enlarge to one direction because we previously lowered that compared to its origin. So now let's just keyframe a little bit. I'm going to start with everything with 0. Hit eyes to add keyframes. Close to 20 frames, like make everything to 1 or something like that. And I'm going to add this. So I'm going to clean up this scale Z because XY value to be 0 is only because I want it to really disappear. Or maybe you don't need XY. We will see. But the Z is something really important. I want it to be like very large, like 5 or 15, 25, something like that. So let's just see what if the if the Z is fine. So you can see if we don't keyframe the X, Y, initially it looks like a very plain. This is personally not what I'm looking for. So I would still like to keyframe this X, Y. Let's just keyframe that. And it goes to 20 and activate this. So it looks like this. This is cool. So finally, another thing that I'm going to do. So another thing I'm going to do is change its transform Z. So it goes to the final case. And I'm going to move that down, 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 down. The same direction as the scale Z works. So now if we look at this, now this is how it looks. This is still not what we see in the actual output because we are lacking one thing, which is simple deform. So I'm going to change now it actually looks, everything looks crappy. I'm going to change the axis to Z, and I'm going to put it before the curve modifier. So let's make it 1000. So you can see everything has been rotated. If it looks jaggy, just add subdivision, it'll be fine. Also possible is just add a shade smooth. Then it looks kind of nice. So now it looks like such kind of animation. This is basically already done. I mean, that's why I think this is supposed to be a very simple animation. If you are not talking about some other specific stuff, but this can be potentially simple to make. Another thing, if you by any chance would like to change kind of the thickness variations, then you just goes to, let's hide this stuff. Let's hide the simple deform, other things as well. Then you just change these circles, like possibly goes to the edge modes, hit Alt and Shift to choose all these curves and use proportional modifiers like the S, Shift Z. Like change these curves or whatever things they can potentially do. So let's firstly duplicate this sphere because I don't want to redo everything again. The next thing is basically hold Shift Z's and just to change kind of curve profile to see what actually will happen and activate everything. So now you can see something interesting occurs. So you can do a lot of crazy stuff with this and probably not go into too much detail. For in terms of shadings, let's just try how actually it will do with the shading. So let's first add a shader and change to shader preview. I'm going to turn down the strength a little bit so that we can see everything clearly. Another thing I'm probably going to preview this is to add a plane and rotate that 90 degrees, enlarge that at the same materials. So in the material, I'm going to add a noise texture. I'm going to hit Ctrl T's to add texture coordinate and mapping, and I'm going to change to eevee. And it's your preference to change the type, but I'm going to change the texture. Later, I'm going to plug this color to base color. So now, do we actually see anything? Yes. We can put the factor to color, but it does not actually matter because by the end of the day, I'm still using a color ramp to increase the contrast. The essential difference between the factor and the color is one has color and one is just black and white. So now this is how it looks. The reason I'm using a plane because I really would like to see how it has been changed. Now you can already see kind of stripping. So maybe you are already satisfied with this result, but in other cases you can simply change the scales. For example, if I'm decreasing the scale of X, then you have more strips going on. And if you increase the Y scales, you can see the strips will be in length. So these are just kind of ideas that you can potentially work with. And basically this is it. Let's turn off this plane. Potentially we can add a studio. So add a cube, and I'm going to just delete these faces. I'm going to add a bevel modifier. So increase the decrease. Yeah, something like that. You can also add a kind of plane light. Area lights just goes down, increase, and let's see the actual lighting. So now we don't really see anything. Just take it 800 or 800, something like that. Then you get something which looks nice, and it should be sufficient enough. You can definitely do more stuff. It's just other stuff. So let's also add some colors. Add a color ramp and define the colors. I don't know how to actually do this. I'm not an artist, so I'll just do whatever. So I will start with the black color, not a full black, but just kind of very dark blue. Then add several other colors. We can add I think this already looks kind of cool. Although I was not intended to make it cool anyway, but I think this is not bad. So potentially you can add some greens. Probably delete these whites, or maybe just leave a little bit of whites at the end. Something like that. And you could definitely add more other lights. For example, just rotate BBB. Actually, point light. Just increase the light 400. Something like that. Add area lights. And I'm going to add a constraint track to. I have a light target at the center. Make it negative z x. Yeah, then it's pointing to the center. I mean, you can do a lot of things you want. So let's preview this entire whatever other stuff. Yes, this is the animation. It's done. It's done. It's done. I would say it's done. I don't know how you will think about that, but I would call it done. You can add more subdivision surfaces, and it's really it. And again, as I said earlier, you can just add this sphere if you want. And these can essentially subject to the animation of any kind of splines, including text. So if I'm adding a text, if you just add a text, so let's eliminate all these kind of things. And if we go to look at text, let's just look at the text, and it's possible to go to the convert to mesh from the curve from mesh or text. So it's possible to curves, and you do have a lot of curves, and certainly you can do this. Something like that. I haven't really tried, but we can see. Where is our sphere? Yes. So now if we change everything to our text, you can see it looks kind of very weird. Initially it looks like this, and it will just rotate everything. So let's decrease its size. It's also required to actually rotate at 90 degrees. So apply all transforms. So make the curve to 3D. Apply all transforms. Then the curve essentially goes. You can decrease the values of the entire z's. Then you have something wrapping on the T. Just be cautious with all these values, maybe 0.1, something like that. Then you have this kind of interesting animation going on. Yeah, I think this is really done. I was not intended to make this anywhere interesting, but looking like not bad. So make it -5. For other curves, you just probably separate them. So like hit, I think P, separate to other curves. So let's add a complete new sphere and set the type to the text001. Then you get all these kind of things. Just to separate all these kind of things. So I've done this animation very quick. It's actually a lot more easier than I think. So there are several things I would like to mention if you're going to do similar kind of things. Basically, if I have texts that are joined together, so Control J, I'm going to join together. Sometimes it's possible just to select them, but it's also possible to accidentally select other cases, like E is very compact or other things. To easily do that, you just go to Edit mode and select one vertices and hit L. Then it will select all vertices that are directly or indirectly connected to that. And then you hit P, then you separate vertices. So this is an easy way to do. Another thing is that while you're duplicating the sphere or other things, it will be recommended to use Alt-D instead of Shift-D. So what does it mean by Alt-D or Shift-D? Basically, they are all duplicate, but if I were to exemplify, so now I'm going to Shift-D, a curve with a cube which goes up, and I'm going to Alt-D and a cube to the horizontal. So you can see if I'm going to edit the modes, then the mesh will update for the mesh which has been generated by Alt-D, but for the mesh in Shift-D, it's completely individual. A very cool thing is you can add a modifier to this object that has Alt-D. So they only share the information which has been created in edit mode, but not all about the subdivision surface or other things. And their transform obviously is not inherited as well, so you can move that freely. So these are the cases. So these are the cases. So let's go back. What if you accidentally didn't do what I said? Like you use the Shift D instead of Alt D. Then what can you actually do with that? It's actually also easy to fix. So you just select all these spheres, and which, because they are Shift D created, so it does not matter which one is actually. Then you hit Control L and make links in object data. Then they have links together. So if you hit Shift, then all of them are essentially connected. So this is one thing you can do. Other things is, if I would like to change this simple deform for all of them, then how should I do? I need to change one by one, which is very tedious work. Very tedious work. So an easy way to do is basically just select this whatever stuff and shift left mouse button, collect all of them, and goes to deform. And please remember to hold Alt and then change the number, like 3000, and hit enter. So now everyone has been updated. But if you don't hold Alt, you just type 180, it will only update one. So this is the difference, and this difference tends to be very important. It makes your life much easier. You just hold Alt and it will just do the work. So these is our tricks. In terms of keyframing, if you want to offset that, I'm afraid that you just have to do that by hand. Or in some circumstances, you can do that by nodes. But I don't want to go to other add-ons at this moment. Other cases, just to remember, this summary is very important, so you can actually change all of them together. So you don't necessarily to go through the entire list, which I'm not going to look at that. So I'm just going to change this summary. So this is kind of point. I hope this tutorial is kind of useful to you, and I'll probably see you next time. Bye bye.